Enrollment in Barnstable Public Schools is on the rise. Changes are on the horizon for the Destination Imagination program, and the Cape says goodbye to JetBlue for the season. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, September 10th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. Enrollment is up in Barnstable Public Schools. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Mary Schakowsky reported the good news to the school committee during its meeting last night.
Our first day, the enrollment of this year was approximately 50 students higher than enrollment on the first day of school last year. I know there continues to be mobility of students throughout the next several weeks, and we'll have more accurate numbers, but I was pleased that we do have a higher, it seems like our enrollment over the last 2 years beginning to stabilize and hopefully on the upswing, being able to bring in more students. It's also the first time we've had, with respect to school choice, more students coming into the district than are going out of the district, so those are all good signs.
Schakowsky says the district will have more accurate enrollment numbers in November. The Assistant Secretary to the United States Department of Education addressed the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents during a conference that was held over the weekend. Schakowsky attended the conference and says Carlisle had some great advice.
And the first point is that, we need to reinvent our education system. There's no silver bullets. For the $6.5 billion that are spent in turnaround schools, it's those schools that are no longer tinkering around the edges to make these minimal change. But it's really the schools, and they looked at the lowest performing school districts, and those turnarounds occurred with districts that had a very clear vision, leaders who had the ability to galvanize staff and bring people on board, and really to recruit and hire the most qualified and certified leaders as well as teachers. So that was the first point. The second point she made is that we need to establish our own reality with respect to technology, engaging and educating students on the appropriate use of technology. And we need to think strategically about this, that many schools are looking at having students use their own devices. And so as it'll be interesting this year when we look to assess the 7th grade initiative, what's the impact? What's the impact on student learning? So, and said that if students aren't bringing their phones to school, using their phones as a device for learning, then we're way behind the 8 ball here. So it's very interesting. I think once we reach beyond just Massachusetts and look across the country, really what's happening in other districts across the country, technology is an area of concern. The third point she made is the pressures are real. College career ready standards, the new assessments, the new teacher evaluation, too much, too fast, too quick. And I think it's something that we've been saying to the commissioner, that these mandates, these unfunded mandates, these demands are just too fast, too quick, too much. The fourth point she made was go back to your district and establish what she called promising practices. Develop and communicate what are the non-negotiables. And that's interesting because we are engaged in a 2-year partnership with NCLD with focusing on what are our non-negotiables with respect to student achievement. What do we stand for here in Barnstable? When we say education for all, one of our core values is opportunity for all. What does all mean? All means all, each and every student. So what does that look like? And then the last point she made was think about the achievement gap in a different way. And rather than use the term close the achievement gap, she focused on closing the opportunity gap.
Schakowsky says she will be looking at what opportunities are available to Barnstable students and how the district can increase accessibility for struggling students. Destination Imagination will now be a fee-based school program run through the Gateway program. Gateway Director Karen Murphy presented her formal plan last night.
I put forth a formal proposal to Dr. Schakowsky, and it's in your packet as well. And we are hoping to put a $75 fee to turn DI into a fee-based extracurricular activity. And the recommendation would be to try it for a year And what would follow would be the creation of a DI coordinator position. That person would then help manage that program, go through the regular steps that the Gateway office did. And basically at the end of the year in May, we'd take a look, see how this fee-based program, if we were able to increase enrollment, how it worked, and we thought it would be worth a try for a year for $75.
And the school committee ultimately unanimously voted to support the move. The school committee will soon vote on a new graduation requirement policy for Barnstable High School. Principal Patrick Clark updated the school committee during last night's meeting.
In terms of the current status, we still focus primarily on grades 9 through 12 and earning high school credits, even though 8th grade has come into the school. In a few circumstances, if it's a level 1 foreign language course or a student is advanced in a math course, they may be earning a credit that is worthy of high school graduation while in grade 8. But we did not bring grade 8 into the fold. And that was one of the questions that came up over the course of the last year as to would we be expanding graduation credits to include all of the 8th grade. And there is some interest by the 8th grade staff and by the administration at our building in terms of, including some of my thoughts on the matter, about making the 8th grade have some weight to it, saying 8th grade counts. And how we do that would be a conversation for down the road. So our current status remains at 22 credits for graduation, and an overwhelming majority, if not all of those credits, are earned by most students in grades 9 through 12. And that is over a 4-year period. They have 24 opportunities to take classes in a 6-period schedule. So they need to earn 22 credits out of the 24 possibilities. The Mass Core alignment, the question with Mass Core alignment is, if we're going to be phasing that in, what increments would we be phasing that in, and what pieces would we have as our next priorities? So, for instance, there's an arts expectation in Mass Core alignment. Do we as a school community believe that that would be the next priority, or do we think we should be increasing the number of lab sciences that we have? We do not have a world languages graduation requirement, even though an overwhelming majority of our students, because of the rate of students going to college, take minimally a couple of years of 2 years of the same world language. So the question would be some of these areas: science with extra lab time, the arts/creativity credit, and possibly going the route of adding in within a 3 to 4 year period all of the Mass Core alignment.
The school committee will vote on the policy at its meeting next month. JetBlue's Cape Cod season is over. Channel 18's Sarah Colvin reports on a successful summer at Barnstable Municipal Airport.
This summer, more than 12,000 passengers traveled between Hyannis and New York City on JetBlue Airlines. The first flight touched down at Barnstable Municipal Airport on June 26th and was greeted by local officials, Chamber of Commerce staff, and curious onlookers eager to see a large commercial airline at our hometown airport. In the 11 weeks since, the daily flights on JetBlue's 100-seat Embraer twin-engine jet were, on the average, 85% full. Barnstable Municipal Airport Manager Bud Brialt says this confirms the airport's belief that there is great potential for expanded air service from Hyannis to points beyond Boston and the nearby islands. JetBlue will return in 2015 for a hopefully longer season that begins in the spring and extends into the fall. Airport Commission member John Griffin was on the roof of the airport to greet the final JetBlue flight on Tuesday, September 9th. He, along with fellow Commissioner Mary Smith, are excited about the success of JetBlue and look forward to an even more successful 2015. Beyond JetBlue, Barnstable Municipal Airport is reaching out to other regional carriers, urging them to learn from JetBlue's success and establish new air service between Cape Cod and more distant destinations. JetBlue's final flight on Tuesday was sent off with well wishes from local officials and chamber representatives.
Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will take flight with historic World War II aircraft. We'll get tips on how to prepare for any potential hurricanes. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.